If you want to change your tax, you have to change your facts. Hey everybody, it's Buck Joffrey here with a little wisdom for you on a Friday. And today I want to kind of talk a little bit about a conversation I had with a friend of mine who's, he's a young surgeon, very successful, makes a really good W-2 income. He's, maybe he's close to 40, late 30s, early, maybe close to 40. And his question to me was, okay, how can I start this process? What would you do if you were me, if all you had is W-2 income? And I thought about it for a long time. And in reality, the most powerful thing that he can do right now is try to get in a situation in which he pays less taxes. Easier said than done, right? Yeah, but there are ways to do it, and you have to start thinking about it and structure that. As my friend Tom Wheelwright of Tax Free Wealth and Robert Kiyosaki CPA says, if you want to change your tax, you have to change your facts. So there's multiple ways to potentially do that. And for him, it's not as easy because he's a W-2 employee. Now, if he owned his practice, there would be other options I think Tom Wheelwright has talked about on our show of various ways of structuring your practice so that part of it comes out as passive income and part of it is active income. That's not really an option for this guy. He's a W-2 employee for a hospital. And so the next option, I just off the top of my head is, we talk about real estate all the time and the tax advantages. There are two major ways that somebody with a W-2 income can potentially decrease their taxes. One is through the real estate professional designation. We've talked about this on the show several times, but in effect, if you are a real estate professional and you have that designation, and when you file your taxes, then you can take all of those passive losses, normally passive depreciation losses, and apply them against any kind of income, whether it's active or if it's passive. Okay, now the challenge for most people there is that if you are a high-paid professional, it's very difficult to qualify for that designation. You have to do, I think, 750 hours of, have to keep a diary of that, of active work, and then you can't have a job in which you participate. It's a fairly big hurdle for a full-time person. Now, if you have a spouse and you're filing jointly, that is something that you could potentially do. Now, look into that, real estate professional. The other option right off the bat that I can think of for somebody like my friend who's actually single, so he doesn't have a spouse either, is the VRBO example. Now, there are situations where short-term rentals, if you meet the criteria and you follow certain rules, you can take those short-term rentals and do the same things that you do on the big properties in the sense that you do the cost segregation analysis, you do bonus depreciation, and then you get your K1 paper losses. But if you meet various criteria for how you operate that short-term rental, those losses can be considered active and be used to write off against your active W-2 income. So those are just two ideas right away. And for my friend, I truly believe probably the latter idea, the VRBO, the short-term rental thing, is probably where I would look first. Because if you can start depreciating, say normally you were making $500,000 and this guy lives in California, he's basically paying half his income. Okay, but let's say he's paying $200,000 in taxes off his $500,000. If we can get that down by $100,000, that is a huge return on investment, right? Is that possible? Absolutely. All you got to do is, again, use the power of depreciation, use the power of cost segregation analysis, and bonus depreciation, and use that, wherever you can. And with a short-term rental, if you follow certain rules, you can absolutely use it against active income. And again, as a real estate professional designation, if your spouse has it, you can write off, I believe the limit though is like $500,000, but hey, that's not so bad either, right? So anyway, that's a couple thoughts from me this Friday. Hope you have a nice weekend. Buck Joffrey here signing out.